especially helpful for italicized script, but we're just going to start with this and then go through a few different exercises while I'm showing downward strokes and upward strokes. So the further the tines are spread out on the paper, the thicker the line is going to be. So right now we're just going to be practicing some strokes, and then we'll go into characters. So again, this is called a compound curve. So as you can see, when I'm going through on this upstroke curve, I'm pulling my pen up really, really lightly as to just lightly drag it along the surface to leave just a slight trail of ink. And then when I press down here, the tines open up and I get a thicker stroke. It's a pretty slow, fluid motion. And you always want to make sure that you're moving with your hand and not your whole arm. This paper, the paper with the grid lines going this way, is going to be helpful with this exercise specifically. If you stay generally on that angle, then that'll help you practice your italicization and the upward and downward strokes like on this page. So there's also really, another thing I want to touch on is there's also really no like perfect answer as to when you need to reload your pen. Every single pen is different and every single person is different. Every single hand is different. As you can see right there, I started to run out of ink on this last one. You can see it's a little bit lighter than the others right here. So when I see something like that happen, just want to dip it lightly again. I tend to probably load my ink more often than I need to, just because I hate having to run out and then go back over this. So this is just the first example of things that you can, or forms that you can practice over and over again before you learn how to do characters. This just really helps with your muscle memory. These just simple lines are the foundations of forming characters. They don't have to be perfect. The whole point of this is just to learn with your muscle memory. And some things that might happen to you when you're first practicing. If your pen is not necessarily loading ink well, or it's not holding ink like you would like it to be, there's a chance that the nib that you have has just a little bit of wax residue on it. Sometimes with new nibs, you kind of have to break them in, so to speak, in order for them to take the liquid and hold on to it. Another thing that might happen is you might hear some loud scratching noises, and that's normal kind of, but you don't want it to happen. If you're hearing loud scratching noises, it's because you're holding your pen too perpendicular. Like I said before, you want to be holding it at an angle with the page. I'll try to give you guys a better shot in here of the angle in which I'm holding my nib to the paper. In addition to that, you always want to be holding it at the angle that you want to draw as well. For italics, your nib should be facing the general direction that you want to be going. This is an italic character in this context, but you'll see with the different practices how the pen is turned differently. Another thing you might notice when you are first starting out, you don't want any kind of spatter either when you are practicing your letter forms. Usually that means that you either have too much ink loaded up on it or it's time to get a new nib, which it's pretty easy to bend them. I have a really heavy hand, so I bend them often. But spattering, it usually means there's something not right with the nib.